So a few years ago, I'm driving from my folks' home down in southern Illinois, up the Missouri side of the Mississippi River, up to Des Moines to visit some of my friends from college, and we were heading up there, and I was with my girlfriend, and we were really enjoying ourselves. It was a gorgeous day. We we en- we're enjoying the scenery as it went by, and just all the things that that Missouri has to offer on the way to the Hawkeye State. And all of a sudden, I looked over at her and I said, "I think I've taken a wrong turn somewhere." And she, of course, looks at me and says, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Hey, this doesn't look familiar. I've been up through here before, and this doesn't look right." So a few minutes later, I we came onto a Standard Oil station, and I went in. I pulled in and got gas filled up. Walked in, and on my return to the car, I said, "Well, I was right. I was wrong. I made a wrong turn back. There was a Y intersection, and I took the left instead of the right branch, and so I'm wrong." Hey, the good news is that the attendant inside of the gas station said that we're good to go. We just need to go up here a few more minutes, and then we're going to take a right, and it'll take us right back to where we need to get on the right route. And she looked at me and she said, "You're weird." And I looked at her and, in my astonished and articulate manner, said, "Huh?" She says, "You're weird. Men don't ask for directions. What's the matter with you?" Well, that's kind of a funny story, I think. But, bottom line, it teaches a principle, and that is that why don't we ask for help? Why don't we ask for directions? And I think the reason why we don't ask for directions is because of pride. I mean, if you think about it, why wouldn't we? I mean, we're wasting time, we're wasting effort, we're probably beating our head against the wall trying to figure something out on our own, and yet we don't ask anybody. And I can't say that I've been this way all my life, but in my early to mid 20s, it I kind of figured this out eventually. Not that my parents hadn't told me this before, but hey, there are people around that have done this before, and they might be able to help me. And all I have to do is ask and then shut up. Um, and so, you know, I try to do that. I try to whenever there's an occasion where I'm not understanding something, I try to find someone that's gone down that path before me. We can learn from two basic sources. One is from mentors, and the other thing is we can learn from our own mistakes. Well, to be honest with you, we're still learning from mistakes because oftentimes our mentors made the mistakes originally, and so they're giving us their experience, and then we can do better ourselves. You know, the other thing that is about being humble and realizing that people can help you is having the right tools. Um, I know this is been over 20 years ago now, and I had moved into a new house. It was a rental, but I had permission from the landlord to make improvements or small adjustments, and the doorknob was not working real well, so I needed to replace the doorknob. So I pulled out my hammer and my chisel. Oh, by the way, I I was so poor I couldn't even pay attention. So I couldn't go out and buy a better tool. So I had a hammer and I had a chisel, and I worked on that doorknob, making the hole a little bit larger so I could put the new handle in there. And sure enough, finally I got it done. Somebody came by and they saw that and they said, well, it's kind of a rough job. And not only was it a rough job, but it took forever. And, then a few years later, I was doing a similar project, but now I had a little bit of money. Not lots, but I had a little bit of money. So I went down to Lowe's and I bought what I needed to, and I went, and I was done in 2 minutes. Then I put it in. What had taken me, probably 45 minutes to an hour to do, and it looked really nasty. It was done in just a matter of 5 minutes. And you're talking about somebody who has not got a lot of handyman skills. So 5 to 10 minutes for me for a job done, that's like a home run. But the bottom line is I had the right tool. And so, the lesson there is, hey, look, let's get the right tools. The last thing, is where do we find mentors and where do we find tools? You just don't know. You don't know where to go. You don't know what you don't know. And that's okay as long as you're willing to accept it. I had the opportunity for several years to coach middle school wrestling, and towards the end of my career in coaching, a new high school coach came along, and that gentleman was a 3-time state champion. And I was just in awe of the things he was teaching the high school kids. Most of them had been former athletes of mine. And I think that I may have learned as much from him as his wrestlers did. I was absolutely amazed. Now, this fellow was 25 years younger than I was. I had coached longer than he had, but that's not the point. He had an expertise. He had a point of view. He had a methodology that I was able to use and help my own kids out. I'm retired from that now, but I still think back on that and think, if I had been arrogant and said, well, I'm older than you are, or I've been doing this longer than you are, or whatever, I would have missed out on a couple things. Number one, it would have hurt those kids. And number two, I would have not picked up on that knowledge myself. I guess the last thing is that I gained a lot of knowledge. Not in just wrestling, but in the fact that it came to my mind once again, just like the trip to Des Moines, and just like putting the doorknob in, is that when we have the right tools and we're willing to listen to others and we keep our eyes open for where our mentors may come from, it can be absolutely amazing. It can be life changing. So here's the deal. Don't get your pride out of the way. Be humble enough to take somebody's expert advice. Look for mentors and get the right tools. See you the next time.